Dear brothers and sisters, I welcome you all to hear and see this video message. In this video, I am going to explain how Hindu Undivided Family tax systems helping rich people of Hindus to become more rich people. This is unrealistic and undemocratic and unconstitutional in India. The tax exemption given because of religious line, it should be abolished by uniform civil code or either by separate law. Content for this video I given in the description, you can go through and study. If the uniform civil code is implemented, the concept of Hindu undivided family will go. Once the law comes into effect, no Hindu will be entitled to claim any interest in ancestral property due to his birth in the family. And HUF, that is Hindu Undivided Family entity, has become a mere tax planning tool in the hands of tax consultants who advise affluent Hindus. The laws of succession and inheritance and property rights are primarily used by an Hindu Undivided family to file exemptions and transfer in order to reduce their tax liability. This accumulated with numerous other factors benefits an Hindu Undivided family greatly and cause disparity between the two different units of taxpayers. Because of HUF, many upper class Hindu families are in prosperity. The super rich in India are the biggest beneficiaries of HUF status in the IT Act. Also, insurance and investment exemption given to an Hindu Undivided family as discriminatory. Although sociological studies and surveys have indicated a decline in the joint family system, the number of Hindu Undivided families as a tax entities are increasing every year. Though the principles of spindarship, that is sharing a house, food and place of worship, are not followed, yet on paper their family is classified as an HUF. The primary reason for this is that beneficiaries can then save a greater proportion of their income by being protected under the cover of exemptions and transfer facilities available to an original Hindu Undivided family. These benefits get multiplied even more because of small size of these families. Under current income tax laws, if a person owns more than one self-occupied property, only one of them can be claimed for tax exemption. The rest are deemed to be let out or tax has to be paid on notional rent. However, an HUF can own more than one residential house without having to pay tax. In addition, it can also avail a home loan to purchase a residential property and get tax benefits. All citizens of India are equal before law, particularly in relation to the application of tax laws. The principles of equality before law and the revenue consideration of a state supersedes religious rights. There are about 10 lakh Hindu Undivided family access who are filing tax returns in India. As on 2016, there were 8,40,720 in 2022 and 12 and 13 and 9,40,061 in 2014 according to statistics from the Income Tax Department. We estimate that revenue loss to the government of India would be thousands of crores of rupees annually. Nowhere in the world does such patently unjust discrimination exist, and yes, such a class of tax excesses is allowed, that too on the basis of religion. This is patently unjust and discriminating to religious minorities like Parsis, Christians, Muslims and Jews, who cannot set up such a separate tax entities and save on taxes. The government should not perpetuate unjust enrichment of affluent section of a dominant and majority Hindu religion and injustice to other religious minorities. So union government should initiate immediate steps to abolish HUF status as a separate entity in the IT Act. In 1936, Income Tax Inquiry report has warned of substantive revenue loss if HUF is granted special exemptions. Direct Taxes Inquiry Committee report Vanchu Committee of 1971, which clearly stated that the institution of the HUF has been used for tax avoidance and suggested its abolition. In its paper Reform in Family Law, published in 2018, the Law Commission of the India argues that HUF neither congruent with corporate governance nor is it conducive for the country's tax regime. The 21st Law Commission said the special status given to the entity of HUF was so-called gift by the British, who could not comprehend the complex socio-economic structure of Indian families. Now this status is being used for the evasion of tax only, it said. It quoted former Chief Commissioner of Income Tax TCA Ramanujam as saying that the government carries out any amount of amendment to the Hindu law without looking into revenue loss caused by recognition of HUF as a separate taxable entity. HUF may be a boon to the tax-paying Hindu, but it is a ban to government revenues. So the first and foremost reform in pursuing and securing a uniform civil code for all citizens of India is to abolish the Hindu Undivided Family as a separate entity under the Income Tax Act 1961. The privileged tax treatment of the HUF represents very substantial revenue loss to the exchequer. Treating HUF as a separate entity also threatens the basic essence of secularity that has been embodied in the spirit of India. Bible talks about Hindu Undivided Family taxing. In Proverbs chapter 20 verse 23, wearing wigs, that is different tax on religious ground, are an abomination to the Lord, and a false balance, that is Hindu Undivided Family, is not good. In 2 Corinthians chapter 8 verse 13 and 14, for I do not mean that others, that is Hindus, should be relieved and you Muslims, Christians burdened, but there might be an equality. Also in Leviticus chapter 19 verse 35 and 36, you shall not pervert justice in measuring length or weight or quantity. You shall have just balances, just weights, and a just ephah and a just kin. I am the Lord your God who brought you out of the land of Egypt. Also in Deuteronomy chapter 25 verse 13 to 16, you must not have two different weights in your bag, a large and a small. You must not have two different measures in your house, a large and a small. But you must have a perfect and just weight, you must have a perfect and just measure, so that you may live a long time in the land which the Lord your God gives you. For everyone who does such things and everyone who acts unjustly is an abomination to the Lord your God. Amen.